Alright, yo, what's up? So today I want to make a video talking about my experience with arenas because in the last days and even weeks I pushed a little bit of arenas and here as you can see yesterday I actually reached the point of getting to 1900, and so I felt like it was a good time to make a video about it, talking about my builds, my skills, and also simply my experience and some tricks that I use in arenas. And so if you're trying to push arenas right now, there's only 11 days left before the end of the season, and so you might want to think about it. But even if the season is ending, I'm pretty sure like most of these tricks here that I'm going to talk about are still going to be relevant in T2 when it comes out. And so hopefully this is going to be valuable for you. Alright, so let's first of all talk about my build here, and so I'm going to remove the webcam here so that we can see properly. And here, this is the build I'm running right now. I'm playing with 70 strength in order to get the defenses and also the max HP, and so strength is really good because it gives you a lot of health, it gives you a lot of defenses, and so that's very valuable, especially in arena. And I'm also going for that 50 perception here because perception is actually I think it's actually very valuable if you play staff 1. And the reason for that is that, yes, you're a healer, but you're not a full healer. And so you're still like, you're kind of like an offensive healer, if that makes sense. And so because of that, you kind of need to have some of that hit chance. You also need some of those CC chance. And so that's kind of how I feel. And ideally, I think the best would be to actually get to 60 perception. So right now, I only have 50, but I think the best would be to have 60. And so in my T2 build, I'm able to get to 60. But for now, I'm kind of running with this here. And after that, I'm going for a little bit of wisdom, and then I just spend all the rest of my points in dexterity. And most of my build here that you'll see is mostly about stacking some melee evasion, and also range endurance, and finally some HP. And so that's kind of what it is. When you play with the staff, the most valuable defensive stat is evasion. And so the reason I'm playing with endurance is because currently in T1 it's not possible to stack both melee evasion and ranged evasion, but in T2 we'll be able to stack both melee evasion and ranged evasion. And so that's going to be really cool here, because when you play with the staff, the reason why evasion is more valuable than, let's say, endurance is because of Victorious Energy here. And so if by default with your gear you have a lot of evasion, first of all, you're going to be very hard to hit. But then if you also play with Victorious Energy, which is basically like high focus but with the spec, well, you have here a very useful defensive that gives you even more evasion. And so when you pop Victorious Energy, you get even more evasion, and so you're even harder to get. And so that's a really good defensive if you're getting target or something. And so this is why evasion is probably better when you play staff. And so I think currently the one bow they stack endurance, but I don't understand why they stack endurance because I'm focused on the staff. But that's kind of what it is. So in T1, I used to play with range endurance, but in T2, I'm going to play with range evasion. And here I'm playing with the Staff of Vibromancer, mostly because of the strength. That's kind of what it is. And then here, if you're going to do PvP, you kind of have two choices. You either play with the Excavators one, or you play with the Licurious one. And I think they're both good, but I think that the Excavator one might actually be better if you're doing PvP, because first of all, you're able to get some of that strength in order to get that 70 strength. And also, I think the passive is also really good. And so the thing is that Staff 1 doesn't really have any healing over time compared to bow 1, and so having that extra healing is actually very valuable. And the Lek 1 is very good too because it makes you harder to kill. But I think that with all that evasion and all those defensives, you're kind of already hard to kill, and so I think like having more eels is more valuable, but it kind of depends on how you want to play. But I think I prefer the excavator one. And so this is the gear that I'm running right now. This is mostly melee evasion, and I play with the staff here. Um, I prefer playing with the staff here because I play with the staff masteries right now, and I play with the staff mastery mostly because on the staff I'm able to get some more hit chance, which is very valuable. So I'm getting some hit chance from here, hit chance from here and here. So this is really good, and I'm also getting a little bit of evasion and melee defense. And so again, those are really valuable stats in PvP, and that's kind of what it is. And I forgot to talk about my hit chance here right now. It's like 700, and I think that's fine. But I think it would be best to get a little bit more hit chance, especially when you play against daggers that usually have a lot of evasion and with the Shadow Walker passive, and so that's kind of what it is here. And so I'll also put some runes, magic hit chance runes on some of this gear, and so that's another thing that you can do as well. So that's kind of what it is for my gear. Now I'm gonna talk about my skills that I play with, and so I use the wand defensive. Probably the best, I think. Sometimes I'm able to get some heals from time to time if I get some perfect block or whatever. And so, okay, so the next thing that I play with is the Focus Firebomb. And here, Focus Firebomb is really good because, I mean, you're able to do damage, but it's mostly for the healing reduction. And so when you hit with this thing, you have 80% chance to apply healing reduction by 80%, and so this is really good in PvP because especially if you play against a healer, then the healer, like, he either has to debuff it or he has to wait for this weekend to go away, and so it puts a lot of pressure, and so this is really good. And again, this is why I'm saying that when you play Staff 1, you're kind of an hybrid of DPS and heal, and so you heal, yes, but you're also doing some offensive abilities, and that's kind of how I feel about that. And I play with the Cursed Nightmare, and so another thing that I do is that I play a lot of CC, and so when you play Staff 1, you're kind of, yes, you can heal, but you also have offensive abilities, and you also have you also have a lot of CCs. And here, I'm playing with the Cursed Nightmare, and also play with the Icebound Tomb, and so those are really good CC. And I think, especially Icebound Tomb, I think this is probably the best CC here. This is a really good CC here, and when you're able to land it, it's really good. And the reason Icebound Tomb is better, I think, is because it freezes the target, and Icebound Tomb is one of those things that you can't use the stone. And so here the stone, it doesn't remove petrification, and here Icebound Tomb, this is a freeze, but it's also petrification. And so one of the reasons it's so good is because people are not able to stone it, and so this is really good right there. Another reason why it's really good is because the CC doesn't break compared to Cursed Nightmare, and so the sleep here is pretty good too. It's also another CC. But the difference with this one is that people can break it. Like if people attack the person that is asleep, then that's gonna break the CC. And the sleep, people can also remove it using the stone. And so that's why I think like Icebound Tomb is really good. And another thing as well is that Icebound Tube is also very good by default. You don't have to put any points, you don't have to put any specs, and it's just a really good CC, a free, really good CC, because Cursed Nightmare, you have to put like some points in it in order to be good, and so you have to put points in order to make the sleep instant, and then you put another thing to make it that people have to attack it 2 times to wake up the target. And so because of that, Icebound Tube is just a really good CC here. They're both good, but I just prefer Icebound Tube. And I also play with Ice Spear Bombardment here, and I play with all the specs here, and basically those are my specs. You can look at my specs here. I play with Ice Spear Bombardment because this Ice Spear Bombardment is just a really good ability. Like, it's so versatile. And so one thing that I do sometimes is that since I do a little bit of damage, I can use Ice Spear Bombardment to finish off some targets, like some enemies that are about to die. I can have some offensive ability, and sometimes I'm able to kill them and just to finish them. And so that's one thing that I can do here. And so you play with the damage boost to do more damage. And also another thing that is really good as well is the bind here. And so you're able to bind targets, especially it's really effective against melee enemies. And so when you apply that bind on melee enemies, then it's kind of like a free CC, if that makes sense. And so since they're melee, they can't do anything if they don't have enemies at range, right? At melee, I mean. And so it's acting like against melee, it's acting like a CC, so it's really, really good. Another really good thing that I love about the Ice Spear Bombardment is that it shoots 8 spears, and so because of that, it's really hard to really miss it. And so since you're shooting 8 spears, I'm pretty sure one of them is going to hit the target, and so because of that, you don't really have to like worry too much about your hit chance, because like one of those spear is going to hit, and that's going to bind the target, and so that's really good there. The only thing that you have to be careful here is that Ice Spear Bombardment, it's a fury attack, and so if people are blocking this thing, that can sometimes be very dangerous, because since it's a fury attack and you're shooting 8 spears, like I think that if each spear is actually considered like a fury attack, and so if somebody is blocking that Ice Spear Bombardment, it can be sometimes very, very dangerous. And so if, for example, there's an SNS, like a shield that blocks all those Ice Spear, then I think the block of the SNS, like, it heals on fury attacks. And so if the SNS is blocking all those Ice Spears, then they're getting a lot of heals from those Ice Spears. So you kind of have to be careful. Like, if you're going to do it, you have to make sure that it doesn't get blocked or anything. And that's a really good versatile ability, I think, and I really love Ice Spear here. And that's kind of what it is. Now let's continue here. And here I'm playing with the Fireball Barrage, and this is another ability that is really, really good. And I love Fireball Barrage, and I'm playing with the cooldown reduction. I'm playing with the mana burn, and here this is why Fireball Barrage is so good. It's because it's burning mana, and it's so annoying for people to get mana burn, and so it's a really good ability here. And I play with the Directional Tempest because I just feel like it's more fluid. It's much more smooth to play with it. And another cool thing that I love about Fireball Barrage is that, yes, it burns the mana, but compared to other abilities, like, you can play with the line of sight. So you see right now I'm gonna cast Focus Firebomb, and I'm gonna hide behind this pillar here, but you see my line of sight is not great, right? So I actually have to like face the target to land it. But the thing with Fireball Barrage is that it works differently, and so you see I can cast it here, and then it's gonna do its thing, and I can hide, and it's still doing its thing. So that's a really good ability, like if you're like playing line of sight. If you want to like stay safe behind a pillar or something, it's really good to just do the ability, and then you hide yourself behind the pillar, and you know that everything's gonna hit properly. And so here, Fireball Barrage, I mostly use it on healers whenever I can't because of the mana burn. And another combo that I really like as well is that I'm playing with Ice Tomb, and so what I would do sometimes is that I would do my Fireball Barrage, and then I would go into the Ice Tomb right away. And so the Ice Tomb blocks the damage, but it doesn't seem to block the mana burn. And so I think I have a clip right here. Let me show that. Let me show it. Okay, so this is some footage of me in an arena, okay? And so here, there's a healer here, Shaq whatever. And so you can see here that I managed, I did my Fireball Barrage, and then I went for the Ice Tomb. You see the mana, right now, the mana is burning right here, but now I go into the Ice Tomb, and it's still burning. It's still burning mana, and so even though the guy is Ice Tomb and all the damage is blocked, I can still burn his mana while this guy is CC'd, and so that's why I think it's a very valuable ability. Okay, so the next spell that I'm using is Blast Barrier, and this is pretty straightforward. That's a really good defensive when someone is about to die or something. And one thing to keep in mind is that it also increases the healing received during the day. And so when you pop Blast Barrier and then you go into a Swift Healing, you're usually able to one-shot heal that guy. Maybe if he has a lot of health, that might not work, but usually like I'm able to full HP somebody with this combo right here. And so Blast Barrier, that's really good. And you could play with the extended duration here, but I don't feel like it's I mean, it can be valuable, but the thing is that when I play with Blast Barrier, everything is happening in the very first like seconds, like, and so usually when I play Blast Barriers, it's either somebody's about to die and then I have to heal him right away, and so having that extra second, I don't feel like it's very valuable, because usually it's like it's a do or die situation, and so I have to heal him or he dies, right? And so having that extra second might not be that valuable. And also sometimes I'm gonna pop Blast Barrier if, for example, I got somebody on me that I know that I'm gonna get a lot of damage. And so, for example, if I have a GS that I know he's about to stun me and do his guillotine on me, then I know that I have to pop Blast Barrier. And so most of the time, those are the situations that I use Blast Barrier, and that's kind of what it is. And so my next ability here is the Fountain of Life, and I'm playing with all the specs here. I play with the mana, I play with the radius, and also play with the duration here. And Fountain of Life is one of those abilities that you have to think before dropping your Fountain of Life. And so usually there are like 3 situations where I'm gonna use my Fountain of Life. And so the first one is that when all my party members are all packed, I'm gonna pop my Fountain of Life so that it's able to heal all of them. And so if all the enemies and all my allies are all packed together, well, I can just drop this and it's gonna heal my allies, and so I'm really happy about that because it's really effective. And so that's the first option here, that I might use my Fountain of Life. And another option that I might use my Fountain of Life is that if somebody is coming on me and I know that I'm gonna get CC or I'm gonna get stunned and I'm gonna take a lot of damage, then I pop my Fountain of Life on myself, because while I'm stunned, the Fountain of Life is going to be I'm going to be able to get healed by the Fountain of Life. And so that way, yes, I'm going to get a lot of damage, but my Fountain of Life is able to keep myself alive. So that's really good here. And finally, the final option that might use the Fountain of Life is when I don't have any cooldowns and I have to like heal my friend or some party member, then I have to use my fountain of sometimes I'll use my fountain of life on them, but I don't really like doing that because usually when somebody's about to die or something like this, if they have low HP, they're kind of panicking and they usually like go out of my circle, and because of that I don't feel like dropping my fountain of life on party members is very valuable, because I might drop my fountain of them but on them, but he's going to run away or he's going to move or anything like that, and so because of that I might do it if it's an emergency, but it's not my favorite thing to do. And so that's something that you can do. Sometimes people will get it and they will stay in the circle, but it's not a guarantee. It's definitely not. And so the next thing here that I have is Swift Healing. Obviously, I don't have to really say anything about it. It's just your main ability. That's the thing that you're going to spam a lot, and that's really good. And then the next thing is Clay Salvation, and Clay Salvation is really good when you have to heal a lot of targets. And if, for example, I have 2 or 3 party members that need some healing, then I go with the Clay Salvation. And sometimes I will use it when one person is about to die. And so even though there's only one target, sometimes I will use it if I don't have any other cooldowns. And so it's healing all the party members, but sometimes I will use it only if there's only one person that is about to die. And so it's a cooldown just like any other, but you know, sometimes that's something that I will do. And another thing that I play here is I play with the weaken removal, and this is one of those things that I'm kind of struggling. I really like the fact that I can remove weaken effects here, but I feel like it's not good enough. And so the wand and bow, they have much better debuffs. They have much better like weaken removals, but it's one of those things that I wish it was better. I mean, it's being able to remove weaken is really useful, but I just wish it was much better, because if you play with the bow, like the bow, it has like purifying touch that is so good, and they also have Nature's Blessing also that removes a weaken effect. And I wish the wand had a better weaken removal. Like I wish the purifying touch was on the wand, and removing weaken is just so valuable. Like especially like when you have like healing reduction, for example. Like this thing is just so valuable. And right now, yes, I can debuff with this, but using my whole Clay Salvation just to remove a weaken is I don't think it's very good. And so I have it here, but I kind of have mixed feelings about this. But I just wish the wand had better cleanses, just like the bow has. So that's kind of how I feel about that. I'm playing with it, but it's like, okay. And the next thing that I use here is my invincible wall. And I'm not playing with the target expanded here, and that's because most of the time in arenas, you're going to heal one target at a time. And so, yeah, sometimes people will take like group damage or things like that, but most of the time, what is going to happen is that your enemies are going to focus only one of your ally. They're going to either go on you or go to one of your DPS or things like that. And so, I prefer having like invincible wall without the target expanded, because when you play with the target expanded, yes, it puts shields on all your party members, but the effectiveness is decreased. And so because of that, I prefer having a full invincible wall that is actually going to keep one of my friend alive. And so that's one thing here. I play with the range here, and that's kind of what it is. And the next thing that I play with is the inner peace. Okay, it's pretty simple here, just inner peace, and I'm not using any specs on it. I don't. It's pretty simple, straightforward. You get mana from it, and so usually you try to get mana within your piece, either between fights. Like if, for example, you wipe the opposite team, then you have time to cast in your piece. And also another time that I might use in a piece is when all my party members are full health, or I know that they're safe for a little while, and if I need mana, then I might go for the inner piece. And finally, I can also use inner piece if I'm really like in emergency and I'm completely and so that happens sometimes, and so I might go for the inner piece. But like this is a very usually it's an emergency, and so usually I might break the cast in order to keep my friends alive, and so it's not really about the mana regen, but sometimes like the mana cost efficiency can also be valuable, and so that's one thing here. And one thing that I don't like about Inner Peace is that sometimes when you cast it and when you're casting it, like it's hard to move away and to break it, and so I don't know if like it's a bug or something, but sometimes I'm casting it and I'm not able to walk away to break it, and so because of that, sometimes some of my party members might die because I'm stuck and I'm rooted in place, and so I don't know if I'm baited or something or if it's a bug, but it's something that happens sometimes. So Inner Peace, I have movement problems with it. Sometimes I'm casting it and the movement, like I'm trying to move away, but it doesn't break it, so that's annoying. And so here, finally, I'm playing with the Victorious Energy. And Victorious Energy, I mostly play it defensively because of the evasion, but you can also play it offensively if you want that chance in order to land some CCs and maybe some abilities or things like that. And so that's kind of what it is. And so that's kind of my build for this. And overall, when you play Staff Wand, you're not a full healer. You're really not a full healer. You're kind of like yes, you can heal, but you're mostly an hybrid of DPS and healing, and so that can be really annoying. That can be really annoying to people, and so sometimes I'm casting fireballs and I'm doing some damage, and that makes people mad. Like people expect you to be a healer, but then when they see that you do some fireballs and shit, they just be like, hey dude, just heal bro, don't do damage, don't do DPS, just heal. But the thing is that these people don't understand, and so when you play Staff Wand, you're kind of, yes, you can heal, but you're also going to do offensive abilities, and so sometimes people are not able to get it. And so if you want to have a full healer, like only healing abilities where you're just going to heal, then you have to use the bow with the wand. And so when you play with the bow, you have more healing abilities, you have more support abilities. And so if you want to play a full healer, then you play with the bow. But sometimes people are not able to get that. And also because of that, I don't feel like Staff Wand is really part of the big meta. And so because they're kind of like a hybrid, I feel like they're not really part of the meta. And so if I look at the rankings, usually all the top ranked people are like bows and wand. If you look at the healers, if you're talking about healers, like the top ranked healers are all like seekers, bow and wands. And so if you want to look like currently the first Staff Wand there is, I think is like rank 45. I don't know if he's switching weapons or things like that, but like I feel like it's hard to really, like as a healer, I feel like it's really hard to compare and to compete with the bow and wand. And so for example, one of my last match that I did here yesterday, if I check the stats here, I only did 100k HP, while the other guy here, the other healer, which this guy's he was a bow wand, but he did like 4 times my healing. And so I think it's a very common thing here. What I'm trying to say here is that this guy here, the bow wand, did almost like more than 4 times my healing, but that's a very, very common thing. And so that's kind of what it is. It's hard to really compete with people that can do that much healing. But the difference with the staff is that you have more utilities, you have more CCs, you have more, you also have the healing reduction. And so it's not really about the damage. I mean, yes, you're able to do a little bit of damage, but it's mostly about the different utilities that you have. So you have the CCs, you have the mana burn, you have the binds, you have the healing reduction, and so all of those things, that's what makes the staff special in a way. And so you do less healing, but you have more utilities like this. So that's kind of what I think overall about the Staff N1 in arenas. And here I was able to reach 1900. And I think I can push a little bit more, but I don't think I'm gonna go into... I mean, I don't know, but I don't think I'm gonna go into like the Emperor ranking here. Because the thing is that the higher you go, the more difficult it gets, and the people also get better. Like, you get to play with the same people at some point, and you kind of know like what's gonna happen before the game even starts. So I don't know, for now I'm having fun. I might push a little bit more. And one funny thing here about the ranking as well is that once you get into the 1900, there's a lot of people here that are camping the low 1900. And so here you can see here, this is where, because this is where you get to rank up here, right? But you see here 504, and then there's so many people camping here at the lower ranks, the lower 1900. And so just like that, with only 10 points, you're able to get up like 2,000 ranks. And so I think that's really funny here. And right now I'm currently sitting a little bit over 1900, but I think I'm able to push a little bit more. So we'll see how far I'm able to push it, but I'm just having a lot of fun with PvP. And one thing that I'm going to say that is kind of challenging when you play Staff N1 is everything related to targeting. And so since you're not a full healer, you're also going to do offensive abilities, and you have to manage both your allies and also the enemies, since you're going to do some offensive ability. And so most of my challenge here is being able to manage everything that happens. And so I have to make sure that all my allies are full health, but I also have to make sure that my enemies are going to die. And so if I need to do CCs, then I have to target the right enemy. And if somebody is about to die, then I have to switch my target to the person that is about to die. And so the most difficult thing about Staff 1, I think, is everything related to targeting. And so for my party members here, the one thing that I changed recently is that I keybinded all my party members to my new mouse here, which is an MMO mouse. And so here, this is party member 1, and then the second button here is party member 2, and then this is party member 3. And so that way I'm able to target my allies really quickly and really easily with these buttons here. But with the enemies, I'm not able to do that yet. And so right now, when I have to target enemies, what I have to do is that I have to either tab or click them. And so that's a little bit annoying. So ideally, when you play an MMO, I think you should never have to click. You should have everything keybinded. And so one thing that exists right now is the Astral Vision here, this thing here that allows you to have like these this UI here, and then you can have keybinds on those things here. And I just wish that at some point, when you get into arenas, you're going to have something similar to this, where you can see like the enemy team and you're able to put keybinds on them, so that I'm able to easily switch target between that. Because if for example, I have to say I have to CC target 1 and then I have to switch to target number 2 and finish this guy, then I need to be able to do that really quickly and really easy. And so right now, usually what I have to do is that I either have to tab, but sometimes tab doesn't give you the right target, or you can click, but when you click, you don't know if you're actually going to get it. So I did the best would be to have like a kind of a UI like this. So I hope that's an improvement that we're going to get at some point. And I think that that's pretty much it for this video. And as I said before, there's only 11 days left right now on this season, but I'm pretty sure during T2 most of these principles are going to apply, and that's kind of what it is. Peace.